More moves are coming for the New York Knicks as a report has revealed that Leon Rose is not done yet with making moves to this New York Knicks roster as they push for an NBA Finals championship with multiple new targets still on the board following the trade where the New York Knicks did go out and acquire Delon Wright from the Milwaukee Bucks in exchange for Jericho Sims, adding a defensive player to this team who there was a question on if he could potentially get flipped to a different team on trade deadline day, as the trade deadline is just 3 hours away, and we're going to break all this down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and if you guys are part of that group, of that 67% of viewers who are not subscribed, make sure to subscribe if you want daily New York Knicks news, trade rumors, updates on all injuries, all free agency, all trade reports, anything New York Knicks. It's going to be on this channel. Plus, we have the most fun live streams on YouTube. You guys do not want to miss out. They're every Friday, and then also just randomly we'll drop a few other ones. So you guys want to make sure to stay tuned for that. But let's jump into this. The New York Knicks and Leon Rose, well, more moves are coming. This team is not done yet. The New York Knicks have 14 guys on roster, and they still have that 15th spot to add. And a lot of people were wondering what the Knicks would do at the trade deadline and how they would address that. Well, what happened was the one guy who everyone knew was going to get traded in Jericho Sims did get moved to the Milwaukee Bucks in exchange for Delon Wright. That's a trade that confused a lot of Knicks fans, myself included, as it didn't really do anything that the Knicks fans expected. I was very shocked by the move. I wasn't surprised that Jericho ended up on the Milwaukee Bucks per se. That actually made some sense to me, if we're being honest, because the Bucks did show a lot of interest and did need another athletic big man on that team. So it does make sense that the Bucks were interested in Jericho Sims. But what became very clear is that Jericho had essentially zero trade value, and now the Knicks have acquired Delon Wright, someone who I wondered after the Knicks made that deal could be a potential flip candidate, where the Knicks acquire him thinking that it's easier to find a trade for a guard like Delon Wright than a guy like Jericho Sims, and they wanted to try over before the deadline and take a look before they make another move. Now, there's been a lot of reports out, and Ian Begley did reveal that New York saved a little under $5,000 in the transaction. They could free up some more salary if Delon Wright agreed to a buyout, but that seems highly unlikely. If the Knicks don't make any other moves, well, then they will be able to add a veteran free agent to their roster on March 1st. They are hard capped at the second apron, but will have enough room under the prorated apron. Essentially, it just means you sign someone to a prorated contract. The minimum contract goes down. You go under the apron and everything's okay. It's after March 1st, though. Once March 1st comes around, the New York Knicks can do this, and the buyout market will be around then. However, it'll come sooner than that. So the New York Knicks might not have their exact pick of the litter if they decide to stand pat for the rest of the trade deadline and decided that Jericho Sims for Delon Wright is the one move that they wanted to make. It's a very interesting trade in my mind. It does give the Knicks a good perimeter defender. However, Delon Wright has this weird thing where when he gets traded to a bad team or plays for a bad team, he looks like the perfect role player for a contender. But every time he plays for a contender, the man wakes up and forgets how to play basketball. It's very strange. But Begley did mention that once that prorated salary comes around in March 1st, he would assume that TJ Warren and Chuma Okeke will get some consideration for that roster spot, as both have played well for the Westchester Knicks this season. Now, that's very true. Both guys have played well, and after the trade where the New York Knicks traded Jericho Sims and draft rights to Matthias Lesor to Milwaukee in exchange for Delon Wright, draft rights to Hugo Bassan, and cash considerations, and we will do a whole video breaking down Hugo Bassan and discussing who that is, because I actually really like this move for the New York Knicks to acquire Bassan. He's someone who they could bring over and actually could have an impact on the team, and I'm not just saying that, I'm being completely serious. This is a guy who could impact the Knicks very positively if he decides to come over to New York, especially the Knicks, who are in some need of a shot creator off the bench, and I'll tell you right now, that's exactly what Hugo Bassan is, so you guys don't want to miss out on that video, but that's for a later time. However, the New York Knicks, this is the one move they've made, and now with the trade deadline just 3 hours away, it really feels like this could be the only trade the New York Knicks make, but that's not a guarantee. There hasn't been any traction on Mitchell Robinson. He's going to stick around. Precious Achiuwa is going to stick around. There's really not going to be some major move the Knicks make. I could see them making some sort of trade involving draft pieces. We've seen a few teams trade some second rounders for other second rounders. We could see the Knicks do that, spread out their picks a little bit more. We could also see the Knicks try to do something to manipulate the salary cap, because New York Knicks salary cap expert Brock Aller loves to do that. However, as of right now, it looks like the Knicks will be sticking with Delon Wright. And then this also means that Ariel Hukporti is going to get more minutes as the backup center while Mitchell Robinson still ramps up in his injury rehab. Also, especially considering that OG Anunoby as well as Zaza Precious Achiuwa is in the starting lineup, leading to no big men off the bench outside of Hukporti now that Jericho Sims has been traded. So it's a perfect storm for Ariel Hukporti, which is obviously a good idea. However, it just depends. Are the New York Knicks okay with that? With the buyout market coming in, they do have a few options for a single guy to bring onto the roster. Now, it could be TJ Warren, who's putting up 25.6 rebounds and 3.5 assists in the NBA G League while shooting 36% from three and 50% from the field. He is a very, very good player. TJ Warren has been awesome in the G League, but his career got really thrown by the wayside because of a bunch of injuries. He only played 10 games last season with the Minnesota Timberwolves, did not get good minutes at all. Kind of just always garbage time. So it didn't really affect anything. He's basically been out of the NBA now for a bit of time, but with the way he's playing in the G League, it's pretty much a guarantee that he's going to get leagued up once again, probably before this season ends. And it's very likely that it is with the New York Knicks that they decide to take a chance on TJ Warren, who plays very solid defense and is a good scorer, though his shooting has been inconsistent throughout his NBA career. On top of that, Chuma Okeke is someone else to take a look for because he puts up 16 points per game, plays very good defense, pulls down rebounds well, getting 8.2 per game, also getting 5 assists. He's a solid shooter around a similar percentage as TJ Warren, shooting at 35-36% area, but his defense is really, really good. He's 6'7". He's a good spot up in the corner. It does make some sense why the Knicks would choose Chuma Okeke over TJ Warren, especially considering that he is younger. Okeke's career as well got thrown off by injuries. He got drafted by the Orlando Magic and was already known to be missing the entire season, as he did tear his ACL before then, and then since then he's basically dealt with injuries for the vast majority of his NBA career. Now, taking a look at what Stephen Bondy said, he did reveal the Knicks plan to keep Delon Wright for now, meaning for now means the Knicks most likely don't plan to trade Delon Wright. That doesn't mean Delon Wright's going to stick around with the Knicks the rest of the season. The Knicks very likely could try to buy him out, but as Ian Begley mentioned, that's highly unlikely. There's a real world where Wright takes the minutes away from Landry Shamet. He is 6'5", so he theoretically could be a wing, though he's been a guard his entire career. As I said, I didn't like this trade because they traded for a guy who's effectively been a point guard his entire career, who's shooting 24% and 25% from the field and from three. Just to take a look at his entire stats this year, this is why I'm really uninspired. He puts up 2.5 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists per game, shoots 27% from the field and 25% from the three-point range. He does get nearly a steal per game. His defense is still good, but the offense has been basically non-existent all season. Maybe the change of pace helps, maybe the change of team helps, and the changing of the walls and everything could help him get back on track. But it is a very worrisome trade. I mean, if the Knicks wanted more perimeter defense off the bench, I mean, that's great. But you still have Deuce McBride, which makes this kind of an interesting move. Maybe it'll give some minutes relief to a guy like Mikal Bridges or OG Anunoby or Josh Hart. And then I am a little bit more fine with it. However, it definitely is a problematic move in my mind. And I do think the Knicks are going to address this by getting in a forward or some sort of big man. And we highlighted a few in that intro video. One of them being not Chuma, one of them being Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris signed with the New York Knicks over the offseason, but then got waived after the Karl-Anthony Towns trade, and the Knicks wanted to bring him back, but he didn't want to be on a training camp deal. He wanted to ensure that he would make the roster, and he didn't really expect to make the New York Knicks roster. He kind of knew it was coming. His agent informed him of what was going to happen, and Morris effectively said, no, I'm not going to play in the G League. I'm going to hang out and wait to get called. He's been yet to get called, though around this time of year, it would not be surprising if someone picked up the phone and called the NBA veteran who plays solid defense, shot over 40% from three last year, is a 38% three-point shooter for his career, 6'8", can play the power forward, can play the small forward, has played some small ball center as well. The Knicks looked at him as a potential small ball center also. Solid PER for his career. Marcus Morris is still a good player, putting up 6 points per game last season on over 40% from three. Very, very solid by Marcus Morris. So he could come back to the New York Knicks. It would not be shocking to see the Knicks pick up the phone and call Marcus Morris once again, as they were known to have interest in him already. So I do expect Marcus Morris to get a lot of look. As well as that, I also expect them to look at Mo Bamba, as if the Knicks decide they do want another big man and they don't want to call up Moses Brown from the G League, they could totally go with Mo Bamba, who's putting up 4.6 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, and is shooting 46% from the field. His season has not been great with the Clippers, and he ended up getting traded and then waived. So where Bamba stands now he's going to get picked up by someone. He's not going to go as a free agent the rest of the season. That'd be absolutely shocking to me. I do expect someone to take a chance on Bamba, as he's a good athlete and he does block a shot per game in limited minutes. Also grabs some rebounds, and in theory can hit threes, but also shooting 30% from three is nothing really special this season. However, he's a high flyer. He can grab some boards. He's athletic, and he is pretty easy to plug and play with most types of guys because of the theoretic spacing that he gives. So maybe the Knicks take a chance on him as well. The Knicks have been interested in Bamba in the past. They looked at him over the NBA offseason before Bamba signed with the Clippers. So there is a world that the Knicks look at Mo Bamba. Again, I would not be shocked if they did. I actually expect them to do their due diligence on guys like Bamba and Marcus Morris and TJ Ward and Chuma Okeke. I imagine they'll go with a veteran. They're not going to go with a young guy because with that prorated salary, they'll be able to go for an NBA veteran. And I fully expect Leon Rose to go out and target an NBA veteran. The Knicks are a win-now team. Now, I've said repeatedly, Leon Rose views this season as an evaluation year, and that has not changed. Leon is evaluating things and seeing what they need to do over the offseason so they can be much better next season. This is the first year of a contending team. Usually first-year contending teams don't win the NBA Finals. It usually takes them a year so they could really figure it out. I'm not saying the Knicks weren't contending last year. I'm saying this is their first year as a true major player in the Eastern Conference where it's easy to see them go to the NBA Finals, but usually it does take a year so you can assess and adjust things, especially when it comes to your bench after making the moves the Knicks made, when their bench definitely still is on the weaker side. Now, a guy like Marcus Morris or TJ Warren plugs in perfectly. Both can create their own shot. Both play some hard defense. Both are 6'8". Both of those guys make perfect sense to me. There's also a few other names that we are going to discuss in another video that's probably coming out tomorrow, maybe today. Sometime we're going to do a video, and it's a really interesting one in regards to two guys who did recently get waived, and it's going to be a very fun video to watch because we just have we have a lot of fun stuff planned for it, and we have a bunch of fun stuff planned for the channel. So if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe. Guys, like this video, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. Make sure to tune into tomorrow's live stream. We have a very, very, very special guest who actually, on the impromptu Saturday night live stream when Anthony Davis and Luka got traded for each other, he was actually on that at the end of it, but he will be back. It's my boss, Ben Rogers, and he does Raptors Digest, real fun. We're going to have a bunch of fun conversations, and especially with the Raptors making some moves and there being the division rivalry and the fact that the Raptors haven't beaten the Knicks in 2 years. It's going to be a really fun time. So, guys, make sure to tune in for that. Have a great day, and go Knicks.